Hello, welcome everyone. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Healing Prayer Circle. My name is Cheryl Murphy. I'm an intuitive medium, health and wellness intuitive. I'm an animal communicator, a psychic. I certainly feel like this has been in my family for generations. So I definitely has started at a very young age where it's natural for me. So I want to welcome all of you. Tonight's program, we have a special guest this evening. Before I introduce Nicole Newman, I would like to open the circle. So I want to ask you, if you're new to the Healing Prayer Circle tonight, would you mind typing in the chat box that it's your first time? We'd love to know that. And also, for those of you that come back every week or as much as you can, I want to say thank you for being part of our circle. As you know, this community is a free to join organization. So please share this with your friends, your family. We call it the Healing Prayer Circle, but I like to make it sound like the Healing Prayer and Meditation Circle because I do lead all of us on a guided meditation each week. I'll tell you about tonight's format. Oh, hi, it is your first time, Maria. Hello, Maria. And Sharon, your second time. Well, great. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I'm glad we have a guest for you this evening. I'm just going to mute everyone on the call just as we get started here. I am recording this and I'll post it to my YouTube account just to let you know. So you'll just be watching me and Nicole for this period of time, which I'd like to tell you about our format tonight. We'll be together about 40 minutes. We may go a little bit longer, but I always feel if we can get in and do some really nice work through prayer, meditation, really revving up that energy, letting you experience the power of group energy, just to let you know that's why I created the circle. But I always feel we come in, do some good work, and then we close the circle. So if you can, stay with me till the end, till we do that closing ceremony. I always appreciate that. And thank you again for being part of our private Facebook page. I so appreciate all of you who are supporting each other and letting us know what you'd like prayers about, what you need prayers to. Also, if you'd like to manifest something, I know many people were looking for jobs there for a while or wanting to manifest a new car, whatever, what have you, a love relationship. And then when that came about, you guys would let me know too by posting in the Facebook page. Also with test results, with health concerns. Anytime you get good news, from your medical team, we definitely want to know about it. Or anytime you're receiving a healing, please let us know. It's beautiful that we can support each other on the Facebook page. All right, so let's begin. I'd like to open the circle with you tonight. If you would please, you may sit or lie down, but I always ask if you wouldn't mind just closing your eyes as we open the circle. And what I mean by that is we set our intention, right? We're going to set our intention. So when we close our eyes or just let them gently gaze towards the floor, what we're doing is we're bringing our attention inward, right? We're bringing it more towards the heart space. So taking that moment, just as we open the circle today, I'd love for you to breathe in love and gratitude and breathing that in for yourself tonight, right? We think about everyone else, but it's nice to take this time to really focus on our own hearts for a moment, right? Our own attention with our guides and angels. So breathing in and breathing out, I'd like you to focus on your heart space. And just knowing with each breath, you're filling your body up with beautiful oxygen, with beautiful loving energy that everyone is providing you on the call tonight. As we set that intention to really reach for the highest level of divine love, we ask our guides, our angels, our ascended masters to deliver to us messages, insights, inspirations that we need. Please let that happen tonight. Even after the call, it may happen in a dream for you this evening, or in the next few days, you may receive a sign. Beautiful. And I'd like you to imagine now that color of green. We're going to use the color of green because we are with the heart tonight, and the heart center, the chakra, is the fourth chakra. It is the color of green. Mainly, it is also colors of pink and white. But I'd like you to imagine green just coming out of your heart tonight for everyone on the call. I'd love for you to send it out the right side of your body, going all the way around counterclockwise, having this green light touch everyone on the call, just imagining hundreds of people on the call tonight. And that beautiful green light of yours goes around to send love and support to everyone on the call, bringing us closer together. Bringing that light in now into the left side of the body. And then on the next breath, we send out the beautiful green light, having it go out into the circle again, this time going clockwise this time, connecting everyone on the call. So from right to left, just imagining like a double hug of beautiful love and support for everyone, letting us know that we're not alone, that we are here together. We have this beautiful tribe and community, that we're here for the right reasons. Perhaps it's to seek higher truth or to hear something inspirational that maybe you need at this moment. Breathing in and breathing out, taking your time. We open the circle, setting that intention for tonight to be for the highest good, not only for us, but for all, right? We ask for the highest good to come through, sending our love out into the world. And so it is. And when you're ready, you may gently open your eyes and come back into the room. And I would like to just briefly tell you about the energies that I'm picking up, and then I'll introduce Nicole. Because tonight is the Healing Prayer Circle, I'll give you a moment, if you would at this moment. I think it's a good time to type in the prayers that you'd like to share with us. If you have any prayers for anyone that may need help or assistance or healing or support, perhaps it's yourself, always include yourself in the prayer. You may type it in the chat box now, and we'll just continue to send that beautiful green light to everyone who's typing in right now. I always love it when you say prayers for Julia or Bob or Susan. I love when we do names. I don't know why that is for me, but I just feel like there's more energy somehow. For me, it just seems like there's more of a focus or a laser amount of energy, but you don't have to. You could do initials if you want to, but it is about asking for prayers, not only for yourself, because when we come together exponentially, we're infinite, right? We create this beautiful infinite flow. And you and I, we're creating energy right now with our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, our behavior. So you taking that action step, whether you type it in the chat box or just think about this person or hold them close to your heart, for example, that's an action step. And as you know, where you take one step, the universe takes 10 on your behalf. So just know, making that action step come through, and for all of us watching the scroll coming through, and if I may read some aloud, beautiful, just open your heart and send that beautiful green light to them, because they are a part of our circle tonight. They are receiving the healing as we intend to do so. So I'll read just a few, please. So I see prayers. I am completely healed and will remain cancer-free. I love the way you said that. Thank you so much. The way you said that was beautiful. Prayers for Sandy. Prayers for Sandy. Prayers for all humanity. Prayers for Valerie, Byron, Jason, Jamie, Brandy, Mike, Riley, Luke, Landon, absolutely. And I know that this works. You and I, we feel people's love, right? We feel the Healing Prayer Circle. So just know that even after this evening, this will continue, right? Because we are creating energy as we are inviting it in and we're passing it through. Prayers for Griselda, absolutely. Sending beautiful green light to Griselda. Prayers for Mecca, who's grieving the loss of her mother. Oh, so sorry to hear that. Prayers for your foot, which you re-injured yesterday. Oh my goodness, it sounds like it didn't really fully heal. And yes, prayers to heal Maisie. Thank you, Barbara. I did read your email. Thank you so much for writing in, and definitely prayers to Maisie. Prayers for me, as I have just heard a man I dated, I'm not sure how it ended, unalived himself. but I believe we kind of understand that. But definitely prayers for you, Maria. It sounds like you were in heading that direction with this person, and I'm sorry something didn't happen there. Prayers for Anna. She's praying for Lisa Kingsley. So I want you to take a breath in and out just for a moment, because we want to seal that beautiful green light. It will continue to flow, but it's almost like we have to breathe in more for ourselves, and then we have enough to share with others. So breathe that in for yourself with love and gratitude, and then send that back out to everyone. All right. Okay, beautiful. Perfect. I am going to spotlight Nicole and myself, and I would love to share the screen with you. Nicole, welcome
Thank
to
you.
tonight's Healing Prayer Circle. For everyone, you haven't met Nicole Newman. She is a beautiful medium in her own right, psychic, energy healer, empath, a teacher, a spiritual mentor for many. I want to welcome you, Nicole, because maybe some people haven't met you yet. And I always want to share, people of high integrity, and the reason why you're here, helping others learn to develop, and you're helping others kind of help them on their own path to, be able to make their own connection with the spirit world. So thank you so much, Nicole, for being here.
Cheryl, thank you for having me. It's an honor to come to your beautiful circle. What lovely energy here. It's
It's
just
lovely.
really uplifting. I can feel it as we begin. It's wonderful. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, I really appreciate you having me. This is
You're
awesome.
welcome.
Mm.
So I'm going to be sharing your website in the chat box, and I'll certainly share it with everyone tomorrow and even after. But we want to know, Nicole, how you got started, like how this happened for you. How long have you been doing mediumship and teaching? And
Yep.
yeah, how did you get on your path?
Well, I was aware of spirit as a child, but I wasn't interested in doing this work until the passing of one of my sons, Avery. That's why I called my company Love of Avery Kind. And he passed away in 2013 very suddenly. He had a health condition and it took him overnight. Yeah, he wasn't really sick, but it was like a seizure, a brain aneurysm. And so I was aware of the spirit world. I was obviously aware of it prior to that. And that caused me to decide to focus in completely and just start to reach for him and to try to find him in the spirit world. And what I was naturally drawn to doing was just to sit in meditation and to open my energy and surrender and pray and ask and please come, let me feel you type thing. And I did this often, many times a day, and I just found that I would be able to have a sensation and things started to move and my energy started to move and I started to feel better and I could feel his love and his essence over time as I continued that. And so, and then I got some help from mediums, what's going on here, and started to realize, okay, this is him when I'm having this, and started to realize my experience, and I was beginning to have communication with spirit, with him, with more of myself, this kind of thing. And so that led me to pursue it wholeheartedly, for a long, many years since then, and into this work. Yeah.
Can you share with us, because I did ask you to bring a photo just so people
Yeah.
can, meet your son in
Yeah.
the spirit world. And then just for a moment, so we can kind of, I'm a visual, and so people can meet Avery, this Olympian, by the way,
Yeah.
which I just learned about. Can you tell us a little bit about that? He was an Olympian, right? He was
Yeah.
a,
Yep. Avery had so many struggles because he was autistic, right? And I got him into skiing, into sports, and part of autism can be a lot of anxiety and stress and ungrounded feeling. And so for him, if he had a focus like a sport or something he really loved, it really helped him. It reduced his anxiety and helped him feel better. And so we lived in Whistler at the time, and so he got right into skiing. Had great support here, wonderful programs here, and he made it into Special Olympics, to all the different levels, and into the World Games where he went to South Korea, and that's where he is there. And so he's
Oh,
on Team Canada. He won a medal in slalom, and I was, there watching him, taking pictures and such. And it was it was actually a very angelic experience, which I didn't anticipate. I went there to see my son. However, what I found was that the energy there was just off the chart. The spirit world was so
mm,
there and so supporting. There's angels, like it was the highest vibration I think I've come across in very many years on Earth. you know, and him as well as all the other teammates, most of them, they didn't care if they won or lost. They didn't care what was going on. They'd come all the way around the world to do this. They had trained for 4 years solid, and it didn't matter. What mattered is that they were there together, sharing awesome time and themselves and doing their best, and watching their teammates excel. It was just so moving and non-competitive, even though it's a competitive thing, but it was really about giving to each other. It was really incredible. I mean, they all had tears in their eyes, and everybody in the audience had tears in their eyes, like for days. It was just so moving. It was really a special event. So anyway, that's there.
thank you for
And
sharing. It sounds like they already won just by
that's right.
participating, right? They already won.
They totally did. Yeah, it
They
was.
all won, just by being there
Yeah.
and
And,
sharing the joy, of what they get to do.
absolutely.
Uh,
It was very interesting at the time because I had, weren't allowed to stay with him, had to stay, but I had dreamt in the night. I was like, this is great. We're gonna do this. This will be our new lifestyle, chasing the Olympics, because I figured he would have a long career in it. And in my dream, in my sleep that night, these angelic women are just like, no, I'm sorry, this is it, right? He'll be with us after this. And I
ah,
woke up and I was in tears. I was just like, what do you mean? And couldn't really face it with my conscious mind at the time, but the reality came within that year. He was gone. Yeah, not gone, but his
yeah.
body was gone. Yeah. So
So you're incredible. I mean, well, first off, the when you talked about feeling all the angelic energies of the Special Olympics, I
yeah,
mean, I'm sure I was getting chills and goosebumps. I'm sure everyone else was too. Like as soon as you talk about it, it's like, wow, of course that would be there. Of course, divine love would be there, right?
it
Helping to
was
support.
unbelievable. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was so palpable, and I actually met a couple there that were still coming. Their daughter had passed years ago, so she wasn't in it anymore. And
Mhm.
they talked to me. I was by myself there. And they said they continue to come because the energy is so incredible. And you can feel that their daughter is there with them, that the spirit
Yeah.
world, everybody, I was like, wow, they're experiencing it also. So everyone there is really, it's quite
Yeah.
profound, really.
Quite so
Yeah,
true.
it is.
So, may I just ask you now? So, when you started feeling your son, I mean, what are some of the signs he sends you? You were telling us that you were able to sense him or feel him.
Yeah.
What
So
are some of the
the
signs?
signs I get, he started out with the same sign right from the start. I still have many different signs, but he would vibrate my leg. Like my hip and my leg would start to vibrate, and tons of energy running through it. And I'd feel this, and then it would come and just overwhelm my whole being, really, right? But it would really start in my leg or my hip for whatever reason. And I've heard that kids will often appear, lower on the body for some reason,
Oh, see,
just,
interesting.
I think James Van Praagh might have told me that. But anyway, it started that way. And
Hmm.
then it just became, feeling him and his love and his everything, like his essence. And recently, I came back into Canada after a bit of an absence, quite a long absence actually, and I got to my house and I just felt him home. I mean, not that he's not with me elsewhere, he is, but his energy in that house where he has so much energy, it was very, very strong, and so it was interesting how a few times. Right at the very first couple days I got home, he would come very close and let me feel his energy in a stronger kind of way than I do other times.
Nice.
And he shows me through so many things because I communicate with him and speak to him um, in my mind at times, not all the time. It's not like this is what I'm doing all the time, but I'll ask him things and ask him to do things. And can you help me with this? Can you help me understand this? Can you show me this or help me with this? And it happens over and over and over again. So he responds by helping me out with information that I'm trying to understand or understanding within the spirit world, but often even just regular life and trying to understand how things are. But it's quite shocking, and I find that it's a bit similar, when you're talking about prayer, but having faith and believing and really knowing and surrendering to that knowing,
Mhm.
I think helps set the stage for that to happen. And I was just thinking about this, today as we started. Should I talk or should I stop talking?
No, no. Uh, well, I tell you what, so he sends you signs. And now, is that what brought you into mediumship and maybe taking classes or teaching? I mean, how did you get your company going? Like how long
Yeah.
tell us about your company, Love of Avery Kind, which is a beautiful tribute and it's a beautiful website. I mean, just when people log on, I'll post the link, but just to see, I'll post it right now. Or if you have it with you, can you post in the chat box? Because it has so much beautiful color in it. I think of your son when I see all this color in your website, but can you share with us what about your website? Like, how long have you been doing this, Nicole? And
I started the company, I think, in 2018,
Mhm.
and I'd been training and working already in somebody else's store. Spirit really just kind of nudged me along to go work in a store. I'd been training and training and training, and I loved it. But I needed to get out in front of public and just do
Mhm.
it. It's very different, and so they kind of arranged it to happen. And I opened my mouth, of course, at the right moment. Sometimes they just work through me, and I open my mouth, and I'm like, oh, did I say I would do that? Because I don't know if I'm up to that. But anyway, it worked out great. So I worked in a store, and then the person I was mentoring, or she was my mentor in White Rock. She was closing the studio, which is where my company is based as far as the in person portion of it. And she was closing it, and the energy in that place is so awesome. And
Mhm.
so many of us have been there for so many years, so we were horrified that she was closing it. We're like, no, no, and she's like, moving on, doing other things in my life. And so all of a sudden, I was there. I was at a course. It was a Tony Stockwell course, and I was like, well, we should just do this then, shouldn't we? Let's just do it. And I had all this idea that all these other women that were around were going to work there a lot and help me, and some of them have, and it's been hard because of COVID, but I thought, oh, it'll be a community place, so I didn't feel like I had to do it all myself. Gave me a bit of backing, so we just took over the lease and opened it and started, and then I had a
Yeah.
wonderful young gentleman who's local to Vancouver area, Ty Campbell, and he's kind of an angel practitioner, I would say, among other things. And he made the logo for me, inspired by Avery.
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
love it. And where is your center located?
it's in
What is the
Crescent Beach, which is Surrey, BC, Canada. It's very close to
Okay.
Vancouver,
All
and it's
right.
very close to the American border, about
Okay.
5 miles away from the border to go
Just
to Seattle.
thank you. Just to share with people where you're located, but also you're working online as a lot of us are. And I was even fortunate when I met you in Hawaii. I mean, I was in Hawaii recently a few months back, and you and I did a mediumship demonstration because we were all getting back in
Yep.
person now. So
Awesome.
that was lovely, right? That was lovely on the island of Maui. So thank you for hosting that. I
Oh,
just want to thank
thank
you
you
for that.
for
That was a
thank you.
lovely event that Nicole and I did where we both gave readings to the audience. It was amazing.
It was.
So Nicole, along with your, I know you work online now a lot, and you're doing readings by phone or by Zoom. Is that right? And you're also teaching by Zoom. You're teaching a lot, I saw.
I'm doing a variety of things. I'm teaching some mediumship, but mostly more beginner level,
Mhm.
and teaching things about our own energy and energy body. So spiritual development, development circles, this kind of thing. And then there's so many great mediumship teachers out there. It's amazing. So I like to try and do something that might help people in a different way if I can, and I host teachers like Tony Stockwell and different teachers that are quite long-standing in the mediumship world of education, and host them online. So quite often I'll
Let
mark
me
the course. Yeah.
let me step in and just share Nicole is being very modest because she has worked alongside not she helps other tutors from the Arthur Findlay College and whomever else. But Nicole, I have studied with Nicole and Lynn Probert. She's brought through Lynn Probert onto classes. She's brought through Tony Stockwell, which you're working with Tony right now. He's got some classes which we'll talk about upcoming. But other teachers, and not only mediumship and psychic, but you had teachers on there about spirit art. You had a spirit artist teacher on there. I mean, that's incredible to learn spirit art, and be able to draw a portrait of the loved one in spirit
It's
as a medium is giving the reading. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And also you taught classes just around artwork or writing or learning NLP, but it's mostly about healing and psychic and mediumship, I think, right now, for the next few months.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And it's like there's so much to offer. It's hard to have time.
Nicole, just to tell you, Nick typed in the chat box and asked, do you feel a stronger connection via Zoom with the visual, versus over the phone? Do you?
I don't. I haven't done that many over the phone since we've gotten so good at Zoom. I used to do the phone all the time. Phone's great. Um,
Yeah.
I would say now I think it is stronger over Zoom because we are so used to it and we've done it so often for the last 3 years that it might, that extra visual. I don't actually look at people though when I read them. I look away. It's easier. I might look back to them for a little bit, but for the most part, I'm not really. So for me, I guess I can't really say, Nick, only because I haven't done a phone reading in ages because Zoom is so accessible now. That's why.
I almost also have to agree, Nicole, because people are more comfortable. Like it's whatever medium you're comfortable with. If you're more comfortable on the phone, then your energy's more available. You're not as nervous, maybe, so to speak. Or, I mean, not for you, but for the person calling you. Or on Zoom, as people get to be comfortable with Zoom, it's easier to kind of maneuver. So I want to ask you, Nicole, about once again around your son and what have you learned? I mean, what have
Oh,
you learned from the spirit world? What have you learned, and what can you offer us? This is one question. Like, what have you learned since you've been in this field? And the second question would be, I mean, if you could share any tool or technique that would help
yeah,
everyone connect to their loved ones and guides, we would love that.
absolutely. Okay. One thing I just wanted to answer, Marie
Mhm.
Lyons, you asked if I doubt myself. Of course, I doubt myself all the time. Not so much now, less now, even though I may not always feel as empowered as I'd like. But that's more my own personal physiology, situation. But the whole point, what I'm just trying to answer your question is that absolutely. And I think the development of mediumship is really similar to the development of our own self and our own understanding of ourselves, but also to our understanding of faith, a higher power, belief in either God or our higher self or whatever you feel drawn to focus on. And those things are really similar to our ability to be confident in mediumship because as we feel more aligned with our strength and our belief, and we know this is happening and that we can do this and that we are our heart's in the right place, our intention is there, we mean it, we want to help, or we mean it with everything we have, it's going to happen. And this is what we learn as we try it over and over and over again. I mean, that's how it is. You just have to keep at it and focus one day at a time, one foot in front of the other, I think. And the proof is in the practice, right? I mean, if you do it over enough times, like anything, you get good at it. And this is, I think it's part and parcel. We doubt ourselves because it's such a different mindset, and we're entering into another level of ourselves as we do it that isn't where we sit every day, right? We're not there every day. So it's a shift, it's a change in where we are within ourselves. And so that can feel uncertain, right? As we're sitting in our normal day, or you're driving to some place you're going to go work, you can feel really unsure. Wow, I'm not feeling anything at this moment. Is this going to change? Often my own guidance will give me a hint. Yeah, it's going to change. When you get there, I'll start to feel something in my body that'll give me a clue. Like I'll have a little palpitation in my chest, perhaps, or my throat. My throat chakra is firing up, so I can communicate better. Things like that, or I'll feel a vibration on my body, or I'll just feel a different feeling, like an altered state start to come on. And then I know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to be just fine. I'm going to go into the mediumship mind, or whatever you want to call it. So many words for it. And at that point, everything's going to be fine. As
You know,
long as I stay out of the way and allow the
oh,
spirit to come through and to, do what they came to do, and allow me to just be a conduit. But much like living, right? I mean, we're here to express in the physical form the God source, right? Into bringing source and our higher power into the planet, and bringing it here in a way that is for the higher good of all of us. And when we connect to that, we feel like everything is okay. But when we're in our mind worrying, then everything's not okay. Then we're
I've never really heard it explained like that before, that it's a different mindset or it's a shift. We're going into something it feels very empowering when you put it like that. It's like, hey, it's okay if you have doubt because we're doing something new here.
yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah,
really empowering, for someone learning, or, myself still. I still consider myself a student. That I do believe that we have to kind of, like you said, give ourselves a break, step out of the way, surrender, right? Faith or trust. I mean, these are big challenges in some way. And sometimes we are going 100% and we've got it in our back pocket. And other times we have that doubt that slows us down, but that's okay too, because we just recognize it, that it's there.
absolutely.
Thank you.
That's,
Someone has a question, and then I want to get on to, Rachel, and if I may read this for you, Rachel is asking, is it possible to smell someone who's passed as a way of letting us know that they're near? Ever since a loved one of mine passed, I smell her, usually when I'm having a hard day or at a very good moment.
absolutely. I think it's called clairgustance, isn't it? Is that right? Or,
Yeah, yeah. Clairalience, clairgustance, the smelling, the tasting,
yeah, yeah.
these clairs.
Wonderful. Yes, it's absolutely. And tasting, all of it, all the different senses that we have are ways that the energetic body is communicating with us, right? So the, etheric body of your loved one is blending into your energetic body, and your mind will create different ways that you can perceive it, right? So either through a feeling, or words, or a smell, or a taste, a knowing, all kinds of the clairs, as we call them, and they all work simultaneously at different times, different, depending on how it is, I guess, for the communicator and for us. But yeah, I had that with when I first went to mediumship. I went to Arthur Finley after my son died to study mediumship, and I knew I had to. I was like, that's it, no more thinking about mediumship. It's time to do mediumship. I have to, at this point. And so I went there, and my grandfather, who had been dead for many years, I had a really strong relationship with him. My son wasn't quite ready to communicate. So this was 5 months after his death, and he wasn't, it wasn't that easy for him. Unlike now, it's very easy for him. But at the time, it was harder. And so my grandfather uh, took control of the entire week for me and
Mm.
helped me so much. And one of the ways that he came through was smell. And he always
Ah,
smoked, and I'd smell his cigars, and I'd smell his pepper because he was really into pepper. And it used to always make me sneeze as a kid. So everywhere I went, I was sneezing, and he was playing all kinds of tricks on me. Actually, it was really a wonderful experience. So
it's so much fun. I love it. I love it.
really, it's
Uh, I love it. I'm just imagining the medium giving you a reading and they start sneezing,
yeah.
because of the pepper or
Oh,
something.
well,
That's
for
fun.
me, I would feel him, and that we'd be in the room, and then he would go to the lunchroom, and I'd just feel him all around me. I'm like, wow. And then there's pepper in the lunchroom, right? And all of a sudden, something would happen, like the lid's off of the pepper at my table. Of course, it's all over my food now, and these kinds of things were
Oh, that's
just
funny.
funny jokes to, make me laugh and be in a better headspace, because it was very healing to go into that environment and to blend with spirit and have that experience of my loved ones coming through. It was incredible.
I love it.
My life completely, changed my whole everything.
Well, let me just ask you about that. Let's do a follow-up to that question because it changed. What did it change? Like, tell us, what is your life like? Because you said it changed everything. Like, because
Yeah.
maybe some people here in our audience are looking for a change, or they don't know if that's what happens after you study this. Like, how is it good? Is it scary? Is it bad?
Right.
What's your life change?
Well, some people are afraid of mediumship, and they might have been raised super, in a fear-based religion or that sort of idea. And I think any time that we are um, allowing our mind to focus on fear, we're going to have a lot of issues come, right? There's going to be all kinds of issues, which I won't get into, obviously. But so if we're afraid of mediumship, of course, it's going to be a struggle. But I think people often get over that because they're so motivated
I
to
believe
have the
so.
experience,
I
and they have
believe
to
so.
find a way. And for me, I was like, no, I had experienced the spirit world as a kid. I had all kinds of experiences. So I was like, I'm not necessarily afraid of it. And even so, I don't care. My kid's there. I could be dead for all I care. I'd be totally happy to be dead right now, is how I felt, right?
Yeah.
So why not? Right? What do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose and everything to gain. And what I learned was, the energy and the feeling I had was so powerful and so incredibly loving, and so much unconditional love from spirit. They supported me so much at that time that
Mhm.
I was like, there's nothing to be afraid of here. I mean, it's really, and I really committed my life. I committed my life to love and God when I was a kid at a camp, and that was an incredibly powerful experience. And in this time of my life, when my son passed, I kind of recommitted, remarried
Mhm.
God and spirit, I would say, in a weird way to say it, but I committed my life to it, and I just said, they helped me so much in that first journey to Arthur Finley, that I was like, I will give my life. Um, that's it, right? I will give my life,
I agree. And I believe when we see signs from the spirit world, or when we practice our, because we have practice circles, we're continually developing and practicing. It's almost like it just adds to the good stuff. The good stuff just keeps getting layered on and layered on. And sometimes we forget, we step away from it, or whatever that is. And it's about stepping into that energy. And then all of a sudden you just go from believing it to knowing it. You're just like, oh my God, it is right. It's something
Yeah,
of an unconditional nature, unconditional loving nature.
totally. It's amazing.
So let's go ahead. What were you going to say? Oh,
Uh, I was just, I
oh,
was, well, I was gonna say something about, but maybe I don't know if we have time. I was just gonna
oh,
talk about my experience with God when I was a
oh,
kid, and
will
how
you please? Yes,
I should,
I'd love
because
to
it's
hear
an
that.
interesting story. So I was, 11, and I was wanting to go to this Christian camp because some kids I knew were going to this camp, and we didn't have any money, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm allowed to go. And I could hear my little guide talking to me and saying, well, why don't you go make some money then? And I was like, okay, and so I had this little flyer route, made the money, got it sorted out. Somehow I had enough, and my math told me I wouldn't have enough, but I did, because they gave me an extra root because somebody got sick or something. So I had enough. So I went to this thing, and I, you're there, and there are 200 kids, and they're like, "Okay, so can you commit to living your life for God and to commit?" And I was like, "I don't think I understand that very well. I need more information. I'm not totally sure how to do that. I didn't know how to do that." And then, they just said, "Can you live your life for love? Can you commit to living your life for love?" And I said, "Okay, this I understand. This I can do." So I made this pact in my cabin with myself and God. And I just had such a powerful experience. It was like
Mhm.
my heart, like literally started burning. It was like a fire. Like I was like, wow. And it just put me into this, I would call it now understanding the energy bodies, my super mind or super
Mhm.
conscious mind. Or, this would be one form of it. I was in an elevated state. I was in communication with spirit for the next 3 days fully. And it was wild. I mean, they were a little concerned about me because I wouldn't talk to anybody, because every time I did, I was being brought back here, and I was like, why is everyone so afraid? What I noticed in it was we are so amazing and so powerful, and we're so, like, the
Mhm.
whole forest is talking to us, the whole, like, the
Oh,
heavens, there's like thousands, millions of souls all conspiring for our higher good, like, just wanting to help us and wanting and grateful that we're helping them. Like, it's unbelievable. I was so shocked and so empowered by it. And so, and then I'd come back into like 11 and 12-year-old land of camp, and they're like, "Oh my God, what if nobody invites me to the dance and I have to go alone?" And I was like, "Hey, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't be afraid, because it's dragging your energy down. It's making you feel lousy." I just was aware of it right then, and they're like, "What is wrong with her?" Like, I didn't talk to my friends the rest of the time, but because I was like on my own. But it was incredible. And at one point we were around the fire having campfire kumbaya singing, and I could just feel my soul rising up, and it was like I just had to stand up. Right? It was like a standing ovation for God.
mhm.
And I stood up, and my kundalini opened, and I had this, like, electrical internal orgasm, sitting there with 200 kids. It was like, I was super freaked out, like, oh, I think that's bad. Right? I think I shouldn't have done that. And my guide's like, "It's fine. It's your kundalini. Don't worry about it," because, like, just the whole, it was weird, right? But it was what happened.
Yeah.
And my experience was that my soul kind of shot out of my body, like, was super tall, and I was then in the spirit world, but the camp
Mm,
was still happening at the same
right.
time. And I could hear all the souls talking and encouraging me and thanking me. And, and they feel like that for all of us. It's not for me, it's for everybody, like they're there. Everybody is so loved and so supported. And it's hard to even really explain, I think. But
It's always, yeah, difficult to explain those moments and that experience, but I'm so glad you shared that with us because definitely spiritual awakening, kundalinis. I mean, a lot of people are opening up right now to their higher guidance, or opening up to possibility of receiving information and inspiration from guides, angels, ascended masters, and loved ones. So
yeah.
I mean, I believe what you and I are here to do, and is also just to help people, to help kind of coach them or help them develop, in a way that's loving and supportive and positive. So I think that's why we're here.
And what really, it's come back to me a lot over the last week and couple weeks. I don't know why, maybe because I was coming here, but one thing that was so clear about it is, if I'm not in the right zone, depending on how much light I can hold any day of the week or any moment of the day, or how much I can have faith and alignment with faith, truth, love, be like in a good space and be in the right space, then I have access to everything, And when I get worried, and I used to, after the camp, I would hear my guide talking to me, and I was like, "Oh, it's so lovely that you come and talk to me so clearly," And I mean, now I don't even hear him like that half the time, right? Sometimes, but it depends. But he works through me in a different way. But he was like, "Well, if I'd start worrying," he's like, "See, when you start thinking like that, or listening to the other teenagers, being bad, being negative, talking about people, saying, being catty, this type of thing. I'd be like, oh God, I could feel the vibration. I'm like, oh, I don't feel well. I can't be here. Like I have to leave. I don't feel well, right? And he would explain to me, see, if you allow yourself to be around that, you're
Yeah.
not going to hear me.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a relationship with me. You have to not be around it. You can't expose yourself to it, or you have to try to fix it if you're there, or you have to do something to try to not. You're not going to hear me in those moments anyway. When
That
you
is a good
when
point.
you're in that, and it's the same with. I think with everything, if I'm worried or stressed, I'm going to be less effective, and I'm not going to heal, and I'm going to be unhealthy.
Right.
Have these kinds of things. You got to stay in a high vibrational state.
It is so cool. Susan says, wow, that is so cool. And I just want to say it is cool. It's cool to talk to you, Nicole, about energy and the etheric body and the healing bodies. I mean, this is big stuff. These are big topics, but we're all moving that direction. And for many people who are opening up to their empathic abilities and becoming more sensitive, it's kind of good to know. It's good to know that, hey, you're okay. If anything, you're probably more equipped than ever. But it is very new, as you mentioned, that new mindset. So if it's okay, I'd love to have you back on another time, Nicole, to just talk about this amazing life you have and experiences you've had. But so for this evening, because we are going to end our program shortly, can you share with people what's coming up for your website, Love of Every Kind? Like what, I know you have spirit circles that you do online, right? You do Zoom
Yep.
online
Yeah,
spirits.
absolutely. And on my website, there's a registration link on the top of the page there, and it shows you all the classes that are on and events. I am having, what am I having? I'm having an energy body workshop online, right? I'm leading you through the understanding of it, and then feeling it and experiencing it and feeling some shifts within yourself. I'm hosting Tony Stockwell for a class we're calling God Speak, which is invoking channeling of your own soul and higher. It's designed to be channeling the highest vibrations we can reach into on that given couple of day workshop. It'll be really interesting. So it's going into deeper states and channeling from yourself and perhaps some other higher beings also, and doing a lot of stuff in person now because I'm in Canada. So we're having an Empowered Soul workshop at the end of this month, which is for mediums, for local people. And I know you guys are from elsewhere, so it's probably not that interesting. But anyway, we're doing a few things and adding things all the time.
Maybe you can get that on Zoom or live stream or something like
I
that for us, for all of us.
I thought of that of trying to do the Zoom at the same time. It
It's
might set it up. Let's see.
So would you mind posting your link again, just because I think you have it closer to me, but I want to tell everyone on Nicole's website, oops, sorry, a loveofaverykind.com. Please subscribe to her newsletter. I noticed it's at the bottom of the first page. I scrolled down, it says subscribe to my newsletter, because she has some amazing teachers. I mean, she's an amazing teacher herself, but it's so interesting because it's different, Nicole. It's very different. And I mean, some of it we are very familiar with, but some of it is so interesting. And I love the way you teach it. And I believe it's through experience that you are able to teach this information too. It really is. I mean, you have to have some experience around the energy fields that you're talking about, the etheric
Yes.
healing. I know you're energy healer. You heal energetically, Nicole. There are a lot of people that we hear from that are hurting or, dealing with either physical ailments or mental, emotional, what have you. But there's a lot of that. So we always want to know. These are tools that we can learn from you, Nicole, that we could put in our spiritual tool belt. So
Great.
maybe after it helps us, we can, share it with a friend, or we can use it in the future if something else should happen. We know we would learn those techniques that you teach.
Great.
So
Wonderful.
uh, thank you. So everyone, if you would just sign up for loveofaverykind.com. And of course, Nicole, you can always reach out to her. I think you have a contact page on there. Your email is info@loveofaverykind.com. untitled.com. It's been such a pleasure having you on, Nicole. It's just a wealth of information and love. So thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
You're
Thank
amazing.
you. And thank you, everyone. I would like to close the circle with you this evening. So if you would please just stay with me till the end. And Nicole, you can read the chat box and just kind of see those beautiful people sending messages. I mean, Barbara can totally relate to what you're talking about. So, I mean, there's definitely a need or an interest in what you've been expressing tonight. And this is where you're being called because you're already teaching classes in that field. So
Absolutely.
how about it? So
Wonderful.
everyone, let's just close our circle tonight. I want to ask you just to close your eyes with me for this evening, thanking Nicole, just sending her that beautiful green light of love and really appreciation for sharing her knowledge, her experiences, and all the things that she's offering. But also to thank you for being here. So if you would just take a moment and breathing in out of your heart space, knowing that you received something tonight, right? I mean, we can feel there's definitely been a shift on our part too, Nicole. So we feel a little bit of a shift there too. We welcome that with appreciation, knowing that we will continue to receive what's for our highest good coming through for us tonight and for the continued days to come. So as we close the circle tonight, we send out love and gratitude to everyone on the call. We want to imagine that beautiful green light now that we had wrapped around all of our circle members. We want to see that, release that. So you're releasing the green light that was in your hands or your intention. What you're doing is you're releasing that energy now, letting it go up to the sky or letting it drop down to Mother Earth. And I want you to take a beautiful breath in and feel your own energy coming back into your own space, your own chair that you're sitting in or the floor you're lying on, but feeling your own body now. And we know that because we're going to take a beautiful breath in all the way down to the belly. And on the exhale, just releasing, finding your way back into the here and now, into your own physical body. If you'd like, you may wiggle your toes or move your fingers a little bit just to find yourself coming back, taking a beautiful breath in. When you're ready, you may gently let your eyes float open, coming back into the room, taking that beautiful breath in of heart love for yourself. If you'd like, you may take a sip of water at this time or just stretch a little bit about moving around. It is about just feeling yourself again. So I want to thank everyone so much. And once again, all of you for coming to tonight's call. Please connect with Nicole and what she's doing. I think some classes are happening this month, Nicole, in September. So please see where she is going with that. And the beautiful crystals I saw that on your website. We'll talk about that next time too. Thank you all for being with us. If you would like to unmute yourself, you're welcome to say goodnight to Nicole and myself. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Good night,
Night.
Cheryl. Good
Good
night,
night.
Nicole.
Ladies,
Have a great week, everybody.
thanks for answering my question. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Hey, thank you.
Bye. Bye. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Namaste.